Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Arguably the finale, kind of sort of the first summer special of That's a Wrap.
I'd say it's the season 4 finale.
It's technically season 4 finale, but our semester has ended here, so we're going to call it
fair.
season 4
That's fair.
finale. But my name's Austin Jameson, and joining me today, as always, is
Anthony Gentry, hello.
Yeah, so we got a big episode today.
Yes.
We're going to try and pack it in. But let's go ahead and get started with our... well, we missed it last week, so we got a lot to catch up on.
We do have a lot to catch up on.
But we have two little shows that Anthony has been watching, keeping up on. And
we have Barry and Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, let's start with Barry. These last two episodes might have been two of the biggest episodes for this show. And we are going down a trip of Barry Lane with these two episodes. Mm-hmm. I'm trying so hard to refrain from saying anything because I know you do want to watch the show, and I don't want to spoil it for anything else. But they are doing such a good job at not only like keeping the audience guessing of not even like what the characters' intentions are or what's even going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because throughout the entire show, you see Barry go through this psychological journey. And I don't think that is a spoiler just because it is like the premise of the show, basically. Yeah. And it just keeps spiraling. And I just love how all of these characters, like whether it's Barry, NoHo, Hank, Sally, Jean, they're all like either trying to run from who they really are and keep coming back to the worst version of themselves, who is like what they really are, and facing the consequences and seeing what that truly means for them. And these two episodes really show that. There's one thing in not last week's episode, but the week before that I'm not entirely sure if I liked. It involved Gene and his son, just because it felt like out of nowhere, which might have been the point, but I don't know if it fit very well with the theme that it was going for. But other than that, it had some really great moments. NoHo, Hank, and Cristobal, that was such a great moment between them, and some really horrifying imagery that really just shows Bill Hader's like directing capabilities. It's such a great show. You all need to watch it. It's amazing.
Okay, now soccer.
Yes, soccer or football.
My bad.
Football.
My bad.
Come on, man.
I'm so sorry.
We're in England.
I would never. No offense. No.
I think you do mean offense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Of course, that's Ted Lasso. Last two episodes, I have to kind of remind myself what the episode was 2 weeks ago. Yes, okay. I remember now.
Okay.
Once again, these two episodes, just like Barry and every other time I talk about Ted Lasso, great. I love these two episodes, especially with what they're doing with Keely, who is a character who is just so, I don't even want to say like underrated because so many people like her, but maybe undervalued in the show. Underappreciated, sure. She has taken the lead, especially in last week's episode, where they do a really just amazing talk about, like, I want to say, in this episode, the whole point of it is that she has a sex tape that leaks, and the ramifications that happens with her and the people around her, and how they all respond to it. And they do such a good job and like compelling job of showing each and every one and where they faltered or where they grow and what that means for their relationships with Keely, their relationships with each other. They're doing just such a good job with this show. I've seen a lot of complaints because, especially in this season, a lot of the episodes are around an hour long, and it started as like a half-hour like comedy show. But I just feel like it's a natural progression because they're getting into like deeper topics, and it's still very funny. It's still hilarious in a lot of ways, but they're exploring these characters more, like what makes them tick. Even with Nate, who, from other things that happened in previous seasons, because I don't want to spoil it for you either, you hate Nate. and now you're turning around on him again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, I didn't think that could happen, but the writers are making this happen.
Mm.
And speaking of writers, give them their proper pay.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, this show is amazing. I love it. Watch both of these, please.
Yeah. Well, that is our Barry and Ted Lasso for this episode.
Yes.
And so let's go ahead and get into the trailers, where I have a little bit more to add.
What do you mean? You talk so much during both those segments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Gran Turismo first. Based on the video games, some may be familiar.
From gamer to racer.
It's... Okay, it's got David Harbour in it.
Yes.
That's promising.
Orlando Bloom
is in it too. What did you think of this trailer before I divulge my thoughts?
I think the movie is compelling. Like I want to watch it. I think the trailer gives away the entire movie.
It does.
And it's like, why do that? It's a very fascinating story.
You make a wrong turn in the game, it's all right,
but there are some writing moments like that where it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Lots of if you die in the video game. But...
Yeah, you start over, but in here you die for real. But I don't like that yeah, the writing has me a little worried, but the story itself it's so compelling. Like this guy who played a video game actually turned into an actual NASCAR racer.
Right. It is a true story.
Yeah, it is a true story, and I want to go just to see how that unfolds. Unfortunately, with the trailer, I kind of see how that unfolds.
Yeah. I don't... The target audience for this movie, I don't think it's quite like people who enjoy racing or watching racing and things like that. And it's not quite people who like Gran Turismo. So it's like a weird amalgamation of those worlds.
Yeah.
And so I can see the appeal of like a goal setting movie of like, look at this unachievable like prize that you can win where you become, and it's based on a true story, which is interesting inherently. But it's like, I don't really like racing games, and I don't really care, because like we keep saying, the trailer reveals a lot. So if you don't want to know, I wouldn't recommend watching the trailer, but if you do have an interest in racing games, or like F1 or anything like that, then
Should we turn our levels up?
We're pretty good. It's getting up there.
Okay.
It's just being compressed a little bit, I think. Did we listen?
We
listen
did. Yeah,
okay.
it's all good.
But yeah, I don't have like high expectations for this movie necessarily. It can be okay.
It's a weird directing choice. Do you know who's directing it? Neil Blomkamp.
What has he done?
He has done exclusively very heavy sci-fi movies. He's done District 9, Elysium, and Chappie. I've only seen Chappie. But those are all like even like hardcore rated R movies. They're like sci-fi, these like big scopes, and then it's real world racing.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder how that's going to translate. Even though it was cheesy, I liked the shot of him being in like the gaming chair and then transitioning into the actual race. Like it was cheesy, but I was like, okay, there's a little style here.
This movie feels like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a Spy Kids ripoff of Fast and Furious, where everything is way less serious, and you could probably watch this on Cartoon Network.
Maybe
someday.
Ford v Ferrari.
That's probably a good way of putting it. I've not seen that movie, but
I watched the first half of it, and then my internet went out. And
walking out of another movie.
My internet went out.
I can't, Anthony.
I couldn't finish it
every single time. I don't know. It doesn't. It could be good. It doesn't. It kind of shows too much in the trailer, but
yeah,
that's pretty much all I got for Gran Turismo. I think.
Me too. It comes out in August?
I don't know, honestly.
Let me look that up.
In the meantime, I'll go ahead and move on to our second trailer, Meg 2.
Too slow. August 11th.
My bad.
Yeah. You're bad.
August 11th. But
Jaimon Hansu's in it. Okay. Yeah. The Meg 2.
Meg 2. There's a subtitle I don't remember.
The Trench.
Oh. Jason Statham leads this shark parody horror movie kind of vibe. Giant shark eats people, gotta kill the shark or capture it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Comedically timed deaths and munches.
Have you seen the first Meg?
I've not seen the first
Okay.
Meg. Is it also like a parody, kind of like?
Here's the thing. That's why I don't trust this trailer. Because
Interesting.
the marketing for the first movie was
Mhm.
great because it sold it as this like schlocky B movie
Mhm.
like kind of parody,
like Sharknado kind of.
and then you watch it and it takes itself so seriously.
does it?
And there's like a few like, haha, look how ridiculous this
Mhm.
is. But then it's like, no, I'm gonna fight a megalodon.
That's pretty good, Jason Statham.
Ever since I saw that trailer, I was just, it's a megalodon.
This trailer does what like modern horror movies do on accident, where it's like oh, I'm a character and I'm talking and I'm in the middle of a and then just like completely
Yeah.
comedic jaw through a wall kind of thing, but like over and over again.
Yeah, I guess like the main way they did in the first one was with Rainn Wilson, who plays
Okay.
Dwight in The Office.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm
but,
cultured
yeah.
enough to know the Office cast.
unfortunately, due to the circumstances in the first movie, he won't be back.
Spoiler alert. I wonder what happens.
But
He
yeah,
dies naturally of old age, guys.
I don't know. In the first movie, he punched the Meg.
That's awesome.
In this movie, he kicks it. So,
he does.
so who knows? Maybe they'll learn their lesson from the first one and actually be like, you know what? We should follow our marketing and actually make this kind of humor.
We'll see.
and-
It looked funny, but now I don't know if that was on purpose or not, which is somehow a little funnier. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll wait and see.
But yeah, this trailer was ridiculous. Seeing the Meg come out of the water and eat a T-Rex.
that was kind of cool.
For that, I was like, wait, how are you going to get back in?
he just flops back in. That's
Sure.
you never
wa-
seen a
it
megalodon
was
eat a
amazing.
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
It's a megalodon. Sorry, I just love saying
yeah.
that because it's such a big moment in the
Mhm.
first movie,
Yeah.
and it's so dumb.
I'm sure
but-
it doesn't.
Yeah, I almost went
it's a
deaf
shark,
watching the
it's
first
a shark
movie.
B movie. So.
I saw that with my movie pass. Shout out.
Ooh.
I think it was the last movie I saw with a movie pass, and
I
I
can't
saw it,
blame you.
and I'm like, it wasn't the IMAX stream; it was like the Screen X
Mhm.
screen.
Interesting.
And I went in, and from the very get go, it is loud,
yeah.
and with all the speakers in that theater, it was so loud. I was like going deaf. I was like, this is too much.
Nice.
And then I just had to get used to it.
The loudest sound I've ever heard in a movie theater was the rocket taking off in the newest X-Men film.
Yeah,
Or like the one with Jean Grey.
Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. There's a scene where they go to space or something, and there's
Yeah.
a rocket ship, and it was like actually deafening. Anyways,
Thankfully, I haven't seen that.
it's not good. All that to say, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie.
Yes.
A new Disney animated original. Wish.
The only original.
The only original in the list we're talking about today.
Kind of Gran
besides
Turismo.
Turismo.
Like,
It's based on another
Yeah.
source thing, but it's it's a true story. But like that kind of makes it work. Anyways,
we already talked about
Wish.
that.
It's a new Disney animated feature. I love in this trailer. I love Disney trailers where it's like from the studio that brought you every other Disney movie
Yeah.
because we're Disney. It's this movie like it looks okay. It kind of gives me Raya vibes in
Yeah.
The Last Dragon, where it's like it looks like a Disney animated feature, but it doesn't look like it has like any charm to it.
Really?
Like you got a talking animal,
Mhm.
you got like strong female lead, you got weird like humanoids, like not humanoid creature that pushes the story forward, and I think like evil parent figure or like leading person up above. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but I don't really
Mhm.
care.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen this already.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. It doesn't look very good. I don't have very high standards for Disney at the most. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think?
I loved this
All
trailer.
right.
Everything you said is
Uh-huh.
what I was expecting going in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, all right, whatever, new Disney movie. And then I started it, and just the animation style. First
Mhm.
off, I was like, I love this. Just straight off that, I can't wait for this movie. The mix
It's
of
just
3D
Disney.
and 2D. But
It's
like,
like-
just the mixture of the. Have you seen Paperman? The
Yeah, I
the
have.
short. It reminds me of that, and I love that short. But then it goes into like this village, and you see the evil Chris Pine.
Is that Chris Pine?
It's Chris Pine.
Of course it is.
And
okay.
I don't know why, but I fell in love with it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it has me wondering, and I don't know why, just because they didn't really give hints of it throughout the trailer. I wonder if they're going to find a way to either like connect all the other Disney movies with like the Wish aspect of it, or if it's going to be a commentary on that, because so many of like, especially the classic Disney movies are like when you wish upon a star, or like Pinocchio, Cinderella. And so I'm like, I wonder if they're either going to make a
story.
commentary of it like Frozen did, or connecting it in some way to make this Disney universe. I don't know.
If this turns into a Disney Princess cinematic universe, I will lose my mind.
That's fair.
And I will point at Wreck-It Ralph 2, where they've already done it, but better.
But I just loved that. And then you get into the song. I thought that was amazing. Do you know who sings that?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Close.
Damn it.
It is I forget their name, but they were in West Side Story. Not Rachel Zegler.
Okay.
Let me look that up real fast, because they were amazing. They did America.
Oh,
which is Ariana DeBose.
DeBose.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they are playing the lead in Wish, and they have such an amazing voice.
I think they're in a like Grease spinoff right now as well, called The Pink Ladies.
Oh, they are?
I think so.
I'm not seeing that. Maybe.
Anyways,
but yeah, I loved this trailer. I thought it was amazing. I can't wait for this film now, which is so weird. Just from going into it, I was like, all right, whatever. And then Alan Tudyk as that little goat. It was funny.
Is that was Alan Tudyk?
Yeah, it's always Alan Tudyk.
Well, I know he's always the animal in the Disney, but I just it's basic.
For me, it felt like they were like getting that Disney magic back that a lot of those other movies had.
This feels like if Disney ate their other movies and vomited one more out.
Exactly.
That's not a good thing. I've seen
know.
this movie before.
I think it's going to be very entertaining, and I am looking forward to it now, whereas before I wasn't. And I think it's a cool idea of like this guy collecting wishes, and at least you know from the very get-go that he's the bad guy. It's not going to be like
Their
every
twists
other.
Are so bad or good though. Like the classic Disney villain twist. Those I like.
But they, like every recent Disney movie has followed a pattern of it's going to be a twist villain, like Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen. The twist was they're not a villain.
I guess.
Tangled even.
Yeah, I guess that's a twist. Listen, and also the Tangled was very upfront about who the villain
Not really.
was.
Not at first.
I don't think anybody looked at Mother Goth and was like, you know what? This mom's a good one.
They were.
No. Excuse me?
Chicken Little, the dad.
Why are we talking about Chicken Little now? Listen.
Willie Robinson's the T-Rex was actually a good guy.
Anthony, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Or I want to take a bet. When do you think Wish will get a live action remake?
When's it come out?
I don't know. Probably this year or next. Probably later this year.
August.
I guess. August, you think the live action? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll get the announcement next week at least. So.
Yeah. It's already been made. It's shot.
It's funded by The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock is in it. He's actually going to be the lead. He is replacing Ariana DeBose.
All right.
Alan Tudyk is going to be the goat, but just in a costume.
No. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with Disney. I'm not. I'm totally not. I love Disney too
We are
much.
about to talk about a Disney movie today.
Well, technically, I guess they own it.
What do you mean
They own everything. Let's talk about the next movie or trailer.
Yes. It comes out in November. I want to say 14th.
That sounds right.
We didn't even say when the bet comes out. It comes out sometime. 22nd.
Shark Week, probably. I don't know.
It'd be amazing if it came out Shark Week. August 4th.
Okay.
That's my mom's birthday. Shout out. We're going to watch the Meg.
What an honor. Okay. Transformers. There's another one. Shocker.
Whoa.
This one has
Transformers.
the guy from Hamilton that like has, I forgot what he did, but people don't like him.
He cheated on his girlfriend.
That's not cool. But he's
It's
in
not
it.
cool.
He's in it, and so is Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, but not Shia LaBeouf. Don't get confused.
No. And so is Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson? Is he one of the Transformers?
Yeah, and
Of
Michelle
course.
Yeoh.
That's fun.
And Peter Dinklage.
Okay.
And Ron Perlman.
Okay. Go for it, dude. Is Michael Bay directing this one?
No.
Okay, I thought I saw that.
He's only done the mainline
something
ones.
recently.
He did Ambulance last year.
That might be what I'm thinking about because I know he did something recently.
He's
that
worked
I forgot
on
to announce.
Bad Boys.
I don't know. Transformers, giant robots turning into other things. Used to be only cars and planes. Now we got animals. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Well, we also had dinosaurs.
We do have dinosaurs now. I guess beasts is like the term you would use there. So it's pretty cool.
Hence it being Rise of the Beasts.
True. I didn't even mean to do that. I don't know. I like robots jumping around, exploding things. I love the old Transformers, even though they're not. Well, I think they're okay. I think they have a little charm to them.
I haven't seen them.
They were the like staple action film for me as a kid.
Is this gonna be the one movie where we review where you've seen the entire franchise and I haven't?
Probably.
I've only seen in its entirety. I've seen parts of all the others.
Mm-hmm.
The Bumblebee.
Gotcha,
I watched like the first hour of Age of Extinction.
They're not good. Like the later ones objectively are even worse. I like to the story feels like has the same kind of consistency that Assassin's Creed has.
Weren't they hanging out with like Merlin in one of them?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's important, I think.
I also know like all the aspect ratio changes because Michael Bay was obsessed with that.
Listen, Michael Bay likes his gimmicks and toys.
He does.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't objectively. It doesn't look that good, but also it's Transformers, and my that just awakens my child brain.
I want a Lego Optimus Prime. That looks so cool.
Yes, it does. And it actually.
Yeah. It does transform.
I believe you can take it apart and reassemble it into the truck. If you couldn't, that'd be a very stupid Lego set.
I need to get that.
Yeah.
This trailer, I thought looked cool. Cool action. That one shot, epic.
Yeah.
Man turning into a Transformer, hell yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say. It's not a very complex movie. It's big robots fighting big gorilla robots, and
no, they're teaming up. I think they're going against the Decepticons.
Is that true?
Yeah, because Ron Perlman is Optimus Primal.
Can you? Oh, were you waiting on that one?
What? Oh, you can.
Yeah.
No, that's his character name. Optimus
Is it
Primal.
actually called Optimus Primal?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the actual name.
I'm tapping out of this trailer for now. I've given it
All right.
a lot of the benefit.
It comes
of the doubt.
out June 9th. It looks cool. From the director of Creed 2, so I have high hopes for it. I love that one.
Yeah. Okay. We got 2 more trailers to get through.
Yes.
And we're almost halfway through the episode.
Wow.
So
okay.
let's
keep going.
pedal to the metal. Hunger Games, another
we got
one.
the big ones to talk about now.
Yeah, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yes. Have you seen the other ones?
Yes, I've seen and read the other ones.
I haven't read them, but I've seen them. I want to read them.
They're like Hunger Games is probably like I haven't seen Harry Potter. I know a lot of people like that adaptation.
Yeah, people think like
say
Harry
it's pretty
Potter
well.
is like the quintessential young adult, and like they're right.
Mm-hmm. But from what
Hunger
I remember,
Games
Hunger
is
Games is really good.
I wouldn't even say second. It's probably tied because Hunger Games is so good. Maze Runner, the books are good, but the movies are.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Maze Runner. We don't talk about Divergent either.
Yeah.
The way that those movies make my blood boil. Hunger Games though, there's a new one. It's a spin-off. It's a prequel that tells the story of Snow and like people around Snow. You got Rachel. Is it Ziegler?
I think it's Ziegler. It might be Zegler.
I might be saying it wrong.
Not entirely sure.
She's in this as well as one of the like competitors.
She's on a hot streak.
She is. She's doing very well for herself, and she deserves it.
No, she does. She's an amazing actor, just from the 2 things we've seen.
Yeah, I feel bad about Shazam too. But
but she did her best
in a superhero movie.
She was
now.
still good in it.
But
go check out our review for that.
Yeah, I forgot we talked about that one. Hunger Games.
Yes,
movies are pretty good. as far as I know, at the time of recording this, with very little research, the author is not controversial.
Yeah.
And so it's something I'm allowed to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I support Hunger Games because I really liked it as a kid. I really love reading the books. I remember I broke my arm like when I was 6, and that's when I read them all. I just sat down and like in my little bed.
For a second, I was like, were you like flipping the pages too
fast?
fast?
I was just I read. It took me an hour to read all of them. I don't know. I've not. I know this is. I believe this is based on a book.
I was going to say that. I really
wrote.
like how it's actually based on another book, and they're not just like expanding it for expanding's sake.
I agree.
I do feel a little weird that they're trying to make President Snow hot.
Okay, makes one of us.
You're like, yeah,
I'm not complaining.
No, it's just like because he is so evil, and it's like, wait.
It's the
but he has his shirt off in this one.
It's the SpongeBob Squidward thing. It's no, he's hot.
Yeah, but that was just like a little joke. I really like this trailer. I thought it was really cool seeing the rise of the Hunger Games, and I like how we're starting off with the 10th one. I thought we were going to the first. But he's a mentor, so I guess he survived one of the previous Hunger Games. Okay,
possible. I don't know. I've not read this book.
I thought they went to a lot of his, not all of it, but some of his backstory.
They very likely did. I just don't remember because
I know there was like
stuff
with like poison sores. I wonder if they're going to get into that with this one. But I like the I really love the parallels between Rachel Zegler's character and Katniss, and I wonder like. Maybe that's why Snow hates Katniss so much, because he reminds her of his like dead lover, and it's like, whoa, this is really cool. And seeing Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage, in it. Like,
Peter's getting work too.
Yeah, they both look so evil, and they're reveling in it, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I really like the like Industrial Revolution like aesthetic as well, since it's 60 years before the last one.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to is it's going to be a downer of an ending.
Well, yeah. That's something I do want to talk about because, like, obviously it's a prequel. Obviously, they're not ending the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That has to wait
it's like they're not
bit.
ending it, and Snow's going to be evil. It's like, no, please.
But I think...
But it does make for a great narrative.
The fact that they're talking about Snow is, like, you have the room outside of the Hunger Games to tell. And, but, like... I just look forward to it. I think it's going to be, like, a good time.
Yeah.
And as long as they, like, keep the steam from the last movies that they did, I think they have a real potential.
I really want to rewatch them all now. And Jason Schwartzman playing the son of Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Flickerman, I think.
Yeah.
This looks great. I can't wait to see it.
All right. The final trailer. One you've been waiting for a while. By that I mean like a year, because they filmed it at the same time. We're talking about Dune 2, or Part 2, or whatever you want to call it. Very well done.
Thank you.
So
I'm so sorry if you're listening with headphones.
or think. I mean, maybe who knows what that sounded like. But we got the second part of Dune coming out. I believe, they're advertising this as Part 2. The first one they advertised as Dune, and then you get to the movie theater and it goes Part 1.
It's the it effect, where at the very end of it is like, it's Chapter 1.
It was very stupid, but it was good. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we might actually get more Zendaya screen time in this one.
Maybe.
But we'll have to wait and see. I can't guarantee that.
I will say, you said they filmed at the same time. They did not. That's why we had to wait so long.
They didn't?
No.
I thought they got it all done. And then
I wish they did, because then we could have had it last year. But they released the first one, saw it made money, and then announced it. Actually, going back to our first episode, it was like the day before we recorded is when they announced the second one.
Gotcha.
Which it feels kind of weird. It's like a full circle moment,
right?
Where we're talking about the sequel to the very first movie we reviewed.
Isn't there? Because we've done Scream already, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Scream was like the first sequel that we did another of. We're getting old.
We are.
That being said, I think the trailer looked pretty good. I don't really understand anything that's going on, which is I like. That's what I want from a trailer.
For me, it was just like, oh yeah, more Dune, because I don't understand what's going on. That's
exactly
how it was with the first one. Part of it was because I had a giant headache while watching it.
Yeah.
And watching it at like midnight
Mm-hmm.
with all those like bright desert like lights and then nothing, it really didn't help. And so I was not having a good time and had no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I really want to rewatch the first one so I can re-understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one also, it just looks fantastic. Denis Villeneuve always like knows what he's doing. Especially when he said Blade Runner 2049 was like a prototype for Dune,
Right.
and that movie was great. Yeah, it looks great.
Mhm.
Timothy Chalamet back, Zendaya, Austin Butler.
Yeah, Austin Butler isn't he?
Well, if he talks like Elvis,
isn't he?
Oh, Paul Atreides.
I don't really have much to say. It looks good. It was captivating I didn't know what was going on, which is nice.
Dave Bautista's back.
He is. I
And
don't have anything else to say, so let's go.
speaking of
Guardians of the Galaxy, the third one. It's a Marvel episode, guys.
It is a
and
Marvel
we haven't talked
episode.
about Marvel until right now.
All of our season finales are Marvel episodes. Well, what was last season?
They do that on purpose. We talked to
Yeah.
Marvel. They lined it up for us.
They do.
Yeah, so that's why this, if this got delayed, which I think it might. Anyways, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's the
Volume
third one.
3.
I am so sorry.
You should
Anthony.
be.
Volume 3.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to James Gunn.
James Gunn. No, I'm not doing that. James Gunn. Listen, I'd like to apologize in person. Please invite me out to your office, and I'd love to talk movies with you.
Come out on the show.
Yeah, it'd be just wonderful. Well, you can invite me to your office.
Invite me,
I'm the
too.
one who has to apologize.
I love
I'm
you,
the
James
one...
Gunn.
So let's
James
talk about
Gunn,
your movie.
I wasn't a big fan of Volume 2. I'm sorry. Now I have to apologize. Invite me.
Let's talk about Volume 3.
Let's talk about it.
No, nothing else said. Anthony, what did you think of this movie?
You don't want me to preface with anything?
Give me a number.
Give you a number.
What would you rate this movie right now?
Ooh. Right now, I'll go straight 90.
90?
90.
We've been very tough on Marvel.
We have been
movies
very
recently.
tough on Marvel.
Um,
What score would you give it? 3, 2, 1, go.
90.
90.
I'd give 90 as well.
Okay.
This is probably the best Marvel movie since I would argue Spider-Man. That being said, Spider-Man I only like so much because I was into the MCU.
Yes.
And it's not. I would argue that Spider-Man is also not very accessible to those who don't have the prior knowledge and get those references and whatnot.
Then I guess Shang-Chi, maybe?
Shang-Chi was all right, but
I love Shang-Chi.
The general consensus that I've seen, like just in reviews and whatnot, is that this is probably the best since Endgame, at least in the post-Endgame Marvel
fair.
arc.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to exclude Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That felt like its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, so I would agree with that. It is the best like post-Endgame Marvel thing.
Yeah. It's certainly like the most I've enjoyed Marvel since Spider-Man, and it was very, very refreshing. It's a long movie too. It's another 2.5 hours.
Yes.
And James Gunn is able to carry that along with the acting or the performances, the visuals, the writing, and everything
I feel
across
like
the board.
It's so weird because we harp on long movies so much, but all the short Marvel movies, Ant-Man, Thor, Doctor Strange, ones we haven't liked. But then the long ones, I know you weren't as big a fan on Black Panther as I was, but Black Panther, Spider-Man, even Endgame, all great. I mean, Shang-Chi was like 2 hours, but
you say Ant-Man
was like the short one that we didn't like.
Oh, okay. I was like, Ant-Man, I did not like.
Ant-Man was great. It was
Ant-Man
a 10 out of 10.
Not good. Nor was most of them, but now we're here, and let's just kind of dig into it.
I was about to make a very bad joke. I'll tell you after.
Okay. All right, Anthony. Okay. This movie tells a very good story about the Guardians themselves. It does a very it doesn't break into a million plot lines. There's a few grounded ones that it follows, that it checks in with.
Yes.
The comedy is very well balanced. James Gunn does a very good. James Gunn is very good at writing quick, witty group comedy.
Yes.
Between this, The Other Guardians, Peacemaker, and Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
multiple groups, and like it's something I wish to cultivate as a writer, to like be able to like in like words, if everything that everybody says feels like something they would say.
Yeah. Like every character feels unique.
Yeah.
And even when they're all having banter with each other, and it's supposed to be funny, it isn't something just like Gamora says it, but it feels like something Star-Lord would also say.
Right.
It's everything that that specific person would say, and it feels unique, and if it's better for it because it gives them all their own personality,
Right.
that you identify with or even don't identify with, but you understand and appreciate.
It's very well balanced, and like as far as Marvel writing goes, especially with the most recent movies we've had as examples, it is very, very well done. And that is a lot of credit to the performances as well, with all of the Guardians and all of the like supporting cast around the Guardians as well.
Yeah.
It's just super duper well done. It was a very like this movie, because the problem I had with going into Ant-Man 3 was that the other two Ant-Mans did so well because they were comedic family movies, and then the third one was like tried to be dark and gritty, and this like it was another Marvel like we need to save the universe, and this one's kind of
even this
that,
movie
but
is it divulges from or diverts from the first two Guardians in like tone and what they're doing, but it keeps the core the same, which is this misfit family and how they come together and they belong together. And it's this really great arc when you look at all of them, where the first movie is them finding each other, figuring out, can we even be a family? Second movie, even though I have said multiple times, I'm not a fan of that. It's they're like kind of growing pains together. And in this movie, it's we're a family now. And we don't have to worry about whether or not we ever won't be, because we will always be a family. But what now? Like, how do we go forward? And it just does such a great job. I've taken a writing class this past semester, and so with that, I've been thinking a lot about plot structure and the inciting incident and the main like driving question of this movie. It's something that we talked about a lot, and I don't really want to give that away just because the marketing.
Yeah, it doesn't really show.
The marketing doesn't tell you anything. Which, by the way, the marketing is so great for this movie. But it is so strong, and it gets you hooked from the get-go. I even at first I was a little worried because they give you maybe 5 minutes of setup before they really go head first into the plot, and I was a little concerned because like, ooh, that reminds me a little bit of Ant-Man, where they spent no time setting it up and just go.
Yeah.
But with this, it still works because they still set up as they keep going and just build off of it, and they don't forget where they started.
Right. There's a lot of, in terms of like story structure, they are kind of forced into a situation where they play a lot with flashbacks.
Yes.
But it's done in a way that, like, I don't think any of the flashbacks felt out of place. And that being said, there's like a very common problem with flashbacks, especially in like superhero movies and stuff where they don't have like a lot of precedent. Is you'll get into a flashback and you get through a scene that you're really, really enjoying and you want to know what happens next, and then they completely yank you out of it.
I think with that, or do you have anything else to say with it?
I was just going to say that with this movie specifically, I think they do a very good job of timing the flashbacks as to giving you what you want in those like either bite-sized or lengthy portions.
Yes.
And it's the length is how long you needed it to be.
You always want to end something leaving the audience wanting more. And every time they ended the flashback, I was like, no, like I want more of it because it was so strong. And they give you more later on. But like you said, it's like bits and pieces where it leaves you wanting more. And it's just so strong. The flashbacks are great. I think leading into that, we can talk about the main kind of crux of the story and the villain, which is this is a very Rocket-centric story.
Yeah.
It is very personal to him. The flashbacks are very much like his life as a child, and it's something that the audience kind of needed to see. Like, you get bits and pieces of it throughout the other two movies, but you never really understand what he went through. and with this they're showing you.
Right.
And it is very dark, and it is very emotional in kind of the best way. And that also goes with the villain, the High Evolutionary. What did you think of him?
I don't know I don't know how I would change anything. So this criticism is like
I think
very open-ended.
we might have the same thought.
But this villain is unjustifiably evil and like or almost relentlessly evil kind of way.
Unredeemable.
It's an understandable goal. Like they make his goal understandable, and it's very clear what he wants. And in every villain, the villain should believe that what he's doing is right. And in this case, that is true. But there's no sympathy to be had.
Yeah. With this villain, since we watched this the other day, I've been very torn on the villain. Do you know the name of the actor who plays him? He was in Peacemaker with James
I
Gunn.
don't know the name, but
I want to say I loved his character because of the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Because the performance was amazing. He did a great job playing this character. And he really makes you hate him. And you do see where he's coming from in the sense of his goal.
Right.
But like you said, there's not a huge amount of characterization that has you you don't even need sympathy for a good villain, which you need it for a great villain. But sometimes it is good to just have a villain that you hate.
Right.
But there is a point where you need at least something, and they don't really give you that.
Right.
Like you said, I don't know what I would change because what they have is still strong, and it is a great villain to hate. You want to see this guy get taken down.
Exactly.
But there's a little bit just something about him that's like, I wish I got more of just who you are, because in some aspects it feels like I'm evil just to be evil.
Right. There was no point during this movie that I felt bad for what was happening to the villain. And like you said, it's a villain where you have the freedom to direct all of your hate and anger towards them, and so you get that it at the same time it increases the satisfaction of seeing the Guardians beat the pulp out of him and etc. But it's with Thanos specifically, and with how much time they had to build him or to kind of threaten him, and how they developed him in Infinity War and Endgame, the whole scenes with the cliffs and the mine or the Soul Stone and whatnot, it's those are incredibly impactful, and you don't want to, but there's a part of you that feels bad for Thanos.
Yeah, because that goes into when you watch it, you hate Thanos for what he's doing, but in the performance, you see how conflicted he is.
Right.
And I know it starts with a C, but the actor, he doesn't get a chance to show that. There is no conflict with this character. It's only, I know what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And it's the most evil way possible. And he's such a good bad guy in that way. But compared to a lot of other Marvel villains, which is kind of funny thinking about that, where Marvel had a villain problem for so long, but now they're great.
Yeah.
But compared to all of them, it's a little weaker.
Well, not to stay on the villain topic for too long, but Thanos and Killmonger are the two I think of immediately. And even still with Killmonger and how they portrayed him in Black Panther 2 as well. It's there's so much depth that this character lacks, and that's not a bad thing. It could have been better, but that being said, this movie is very much focused on the dynamic relationships between the Guardians and how they feel, and being able to
Guardian movie.
Right.
It isn't supposed to be about the High Evolutionary. So with that, I do cut some slack. That's where I do take off a lot of points. It's just for the villain, even though I loved him, and the performance was just amazing. I think he has my favorite line in this movie, which is, "There is no God, that's why I stepped in."
Yeah.
Which it's such a great line. Yeah, do you want
It's
to go
impactful,
into the Guardians, more the story?
Honestly, do you want to go into spoilers here soon, and just
Maybe
have the
soon, yeah. One of my also one of the best things about this trilogy is just James Gunn. Like we talked about with the writing, he's a great writer, but his direction with these movies is so great. He really makes you feel everything that's going on. The humor is directed great, but the music, especially the soundtrack, the choices for it, they all have a purpose for the story. They're all like driven for that. They're not just, oh hey, Mario movie. This is a cool 80s song. Let's press
Right.
play. It's no, this song is going to serve the story. It's going to inform the audience of how these characters are feeling in this moment. And just the soundtrack is one of the best things about these movies, and it delivers once again for this.
I have the second volume's vinyl.
Yeah.
I don't have. I think I might have the first. Actually, I don't know about that. I might have that flip flop. I might have the first, and then Anyways, the music has always been great in these, like you said, and I grew up more with the like classic rock kind of stuff, and so like 70s and 80s is what I'm more familiar with. So this movie, where it's like 90s, kind of like a lot of it went over my head. Like some, like I recognize it,
No,
but it wasn't
I get
as
that,
emotionally impactful for me. That being said, you don't need to know the songs, like for the purpose to be felt. The tone of the songs he chose, how they're implemented, and how they're like used was really, really well done. There's a specific one later in the movie during a fight scene. That's just like it's just awesome.
Hallway.
Yeah, it's just awesome to watch.
The action, by the way, is so great.
There's some very, very good.
There's some great cameos connected to them that also just great characterization for those really small roles. I'm thinking one in particular, whereas the boss's son or nephew. No,
I'm completely.
I'll tell you after.
Okay,
but it's some great cameos. I really even love this movie. I think it's a great time. It's fun. It's emotional, which is something I didn't expect, and it's very dark, but in a way that feels natural to what these characters are going through. By the way, the Star-Lord and Gamora, they're once again a great duo, but based on what happened in Infinity War and Endgame, where it's a whole different Gamora, they took their relationship to a different place than I was expecting, and I am so happy they did that.
Yeah,
because this franchise, especially this movie, kind of embodies that saying of you have to grow with your audience, and this feels like that's what they're doing. They are maturing with their audience. They're like, no, we're not going to do those tropes. You know, there are some tropes in there, whatever. But we are going to tell an emotionally satisfying story that fits with all these characters and completes all their arcs in very meaningful ways.
Right.
There are some downsides, like Adam Warlock doesn't get a lot to do in this movie, which is fine. Towards the end, they do a few tropes again and again that I wasn't a big fan of, especially because the first time they did it was effective, but then they keep doing it. I don't think I have much more to say other than spoilers. Do you have any more thoughts?
I don't think so. It's just. Do you know the Rotten Tomatoes before I start looking it up?
I think I do.
Okay,
so I'll look it up.
It's just refreshing, like to have like a fun superhero movie for.
It really is.
First time in a while. It hasn't like reignited my flame for MCU by any means, but
yeah, this feels like on its own. That's something that's different from the rest, mainly because of James Gunn.
Yeah, it definitely stands alone as a very good like superhero trilogy, and I am going to miss these movies. And
I am.
Like, just
it does feel like a
whatnot.
finale in the best way. Obviously, they're probably going to have more. But
honestly, that to say, I think, and I'll talk about this more spoilers, but this is like the first Marvel movie in a while where you aren't like, you know that the stories are going to be done by the end of the movie.
That's fair. I do agree with that. Like, I was just saying
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's going to be more just because it's Marvel's thing.
Yeah, no, it'll be more, but it won't be about these characters. Like, they're
Yes,
not milking.
it won't be about this specific group.
Exactly. And that is very, very nice, and the decision that they correctly chose.
And even when they do, I know we are kind of getting to spoiler territory, so I'll keep it very vague. Even when they do open up the possibilities for more, whether it be films, TV shows, specials, it feels very natural and right for these characters.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
But Austin,
Yep.
what is the Rotten Tomato score?
I'm scared. Last time I got it dead on the money for both of them, and
So you got to keep that up.
No, I think that's where I peak.
You have to tell me how many reviews are there.
Oh, yeah?
Too. Yeah.
A lot. The critics score, it's going to be good. I think people are going to like this movie. I think it's going to be 92. And the audience is going to also like it, but they're a little more cynical, so it's going to be 91.
Okay. You want to lock those in? 92,
yeah,
91?
I'll lock them in. I'm fine with
All
those.
right. Austin,
Mm-hmm.
for critics, you said 92%.
Yep.
The actual score, with 311 reviews.
That's what that's how many I thought there was. I just didn't say
Oh,
that
okay.
loud.
Yeah. 82%.
82. That's fine.
It's lower than I thought, but it's still a very good score. Certified fresh.
I should have let the critics be lower. I forgot how they are with Marvel movies.
Yeah. Which is such a big turnaround from pre-Endgame. A galactic group hug that might squeeze a little too tight on the heartstrings. The final Guardians of the Galaxy is a loving last hurrah for the MCU's most ragtag family. I disagree with that hugging too tight on the heartstrings because it felt needed.
Well, that's true, but they might be referring to certain choices they made that didn't need to be made that we'll talk about in spoilers.
Okay. For audience, you said 91%. Would you like to change that whatsoever?
Nah, I'll stick with that. That's fine.
All right. The actual score, with over 5,000 verified ratings, is 95%.
Ooh, very good.
You were very close. There is no consensus for the audience, so we'll leave it at that. Thank you once again for a great season of That's a Wrap. We've had a lot of missed weeks and episodes. It's been very busy for us, but we still appreciate you hanging around, listening. We very appreciate it very much.
We sure do.
More?
Yeah, I'll say some. Thank you all.
All right, spoilers in
5. I don't know. It's been a very good time. I look forward to our summer episodes. We'll call them out on our Instagram as we decide to do them.
We have not even discussed what we're going to do.
So, because there's a lot.
Yes.
We got Barbie, Oppenheimer. We got...
Yes. There's also the question of, will we be able to access our studio during the summer? But even if we don't, we will for sure be back in the fall.
Yes.
Most likely end of August, beginning of September.
We got a little time to settle in first.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and get into spoilers. Or for all of our updates and whatnot, follow us at That's a Wrap NCR on
Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into spoilers in 5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
All right.
The heartstring thing I'm referring to is like the fake Quill death.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about
happen.
with the tropes too.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking about Rocket in those like flashbacks.
Oh.
Which I thought was just so great.
There's like overall, I think they did a very good job tying out all the stories for each Guardian.
I do too.
Like even with the Gamora and Quill stuff, because I remember when Endgame ended, and they'd fly off with Thor, I thought the Guardians movie was going to be about Gamora. I thought it was going to be Quill finding Gamora.
I thought it was too.
I didn't even know about like Rocket being on a hospital bed for half the movie.
Well, apparently, a lot of the stuff that happened in Infinity War Endgame, James Gunn didn't want happen, or he didn't have input, probably because he was fired for part of it.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, coming back, I even saw him on Twitter, people were asking, like, why didn't Quill use his helmet in this one? And he said, well, it was destroyed in 2, but then it magically reappeared in Infinity War. And so I wonder if he just didn't really have a lot of input in those.
It sounds like it. But, like, Gamora just, like, being called, like, nonchalantly and showing up, I didn't expect that at all. I figured Gamora was, like like her being with the Ravagers was an interesting choice.
Yeah, it is. And I like how she went back with them.
Yeah, because like it kind of felt bad, but in a pull on the heartstrings kind of way. Because if the Ravagers was our Guardians of the Galaxy and that was the movie we were watching, then that reunion would have felt very good because that is her family.
Yeah.
As far as she knows, so it's interesting to see like that kind of forced perspective.
And
it's
her
storyline.
It's so mature to just not force them together again, because this is a different Gamora, whether we like it or not. And Star-Lord has to catch up with that idea. No matter how much like Gamora tells him, he has to understand that.
Right.
And that's just such a satisfying arc. Drax in this movie is really great. Like just him being a father again.
James Gunn screaming through Mantis's character like the entire time, trying to validate Drax, and like I've been saying that since the second one. That even people hated Drax in the second one because he turns into the poop joke guy.
Yeah.
But he like the depth is there. He's just like his role in the group in the Guardians is the comedic relief.
That honestly makes me appreciate him more and wondering if I should go back and watch 2 again. Because now it's like, yeah, no, he's not Drax the Destroyer, he's Drax the dad.
Right.
And a lot of those are dad jokes. And like maybe he just doesn't realize it at that point because he just takes everything literally. But it's like, man, that is such a good, like, it's such good writing, characterization, arc ending, whatever.
Right. And like the friendship between Mantis and Drax as well is just written so well.
Yeah.
It's like it's very funny, but they show time and time again in this film alone how much they care about each other.
Yeah, and like the sadness that comes with Rocket's backstory, and it was such a good idea to make him the center of this movie. Yeah. And have him be like, you were the main character all along. It's like, yeah, he was, and he's the leader now. But the sadness of when the first 2 movies, he was so obsessed with prosthetics. And it's like it was just this funny joke. And now with this, it's like, oh, that's why.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, on the topic of Rocket's backstory, the death of Lila.
Do you know who Lila was?
Voiced by?
Yeah.
No.
Hawkeye's wife.
Okay. What the heck?
Linda Cardellini. Oh, by the way, the cameo was Nathan Fillion.
I connected it after, like, I was like, boss's son?
Yeah, I didn't want to be explicit with it, but that was the only way I could think of.
Right.
But anyway,
Lila, with her death. Whenever it first happened, like, whenever, like, the pop goes off, I thought there was, like, something embedded in Lila that if you leave the cage, it automatically goes off, and it, like, wasn't in Rocket for some reason.
Yeah.
That take, I think, puts more responsibility on Rocket because he's the one who let her out. And, like, but then it's, like, standing behind Lila with a gun shooting an otter. Yeah. It just makes him more evil, and it takes responsibility and the guilt off of Rocket, but like there's still very much guilt.
Yeah, I think I see where you're coming from. I do kind of disagree. I also think it would have been very hard to do that when Rocket escapes. Then be like, well, why don't they just execute him and just study the brain? Like, okay.
One of my biggest problems with this whole movie.
Yeah,
they have all that technology. All of this, all wonderful stuff that they've been able to, it's terrible and terribly unethical, but they have it. But they don't have tracking
trackers.
Chips.
Yeah.
How do we have tracking chips for our animals, but they don't? Like, why now?
Maybe he was just too arrogant to think they would escape.
That's the writer's room response to it, because like, they're in a realistic setting, there's no way Rocket doesn't have a chip in his neck. And
with the animals, we haven't even really talked about this aspect of it, but it is such a great animals rights movie. And except for the post-credits scene, which I do not understand why you have this new group of Guardians. You have the entire movie where they basically do Noah's Ark.
Right.
And like save all the animals. They do not deserve to be treated this way. You have to respect them. They're just as important as like sentient beings.
Right.
Whatever.
The higher life forms.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they call them.
That's fair. And then you go to the post-credits scene and it's like, oh yeah, this like village is being terrorized. Let's
Right.
kill them.
Yeah, it's the villagers
And
ain't
then
gonna defend
they
themselves.
turn around and it's all these animals.
Yeah.
Like, why not make it a bunch of raiders or something? Like, it could have been humans.
It
or
wasn't.
just
It's
aliens.
an interesting choice.
It was like, I guess maybe just Earth animals.
That being said, on another note, away from the animal cruelty,
It
of
also
that-
puts the beginning of the first Guardians way into perspective
oh,
when
yeah.
he's kicking
He
around
kicks the
those
thing.
rats.
Yeah, it's a kind of mixed messaging here a little bit,
Yeah.
but I do like because I was waiting for them to play "Hooked on a Feeling"
Mm-hmm.
at some point. I just kind of like to link it all back.
Well, they play "Come and Get Your Love."
Well, that's what they ended up doing, but in the end credit scene, and I think that was the right choice, because for the finale they used the Dog Days.
Yeah, Dog Days are,
Gone.
which is such a good song.
Yeah.
And it's such a good ending song for this too.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It was
emotional.
Good vibes all around with that song, and then you hit like the feels in the gut in the post credit scene. It's like, oh, this song used to mean something, or like meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I loved Peter going back to his grandpa.
yeah,
I don't love the legendary Star Lord will return. It's like, just let him be at peace.
yeah. That I don't like. That's Marvel though, and it's
Yeah.
incredibly
Do you
frustrating.
think James Gunn watched it and he's like, what the hell?
He was like, I didn't.
I didn't put that in.
He looks at his intern, and it's like, I don't know.
And that's why I'm going to DC.
That's Marvel for you, but like as far whatever they do next, I don't care. This is the Guardians trilogy for
What
me.
if they ended Peacemaker with Diebeard will return?
Okay, I'm down. Obviously, the Shazam 2 post-credit scene,
Yeah.
probably not going to quite happen, but I'm sure Peacemaker
Who
and
knows?
John Cena will make
But
his way
that's
back.
for another review.
It is for another review. That's all I got. It was a good
That's
movie.
all I got.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Great movie.
Join us next week for all 9 Fast and Furious movies at
Yes.
the same time. Anyways,
That's
that's
a joke from before.
Yeah, it's an
we
inside
hit
joke.
record.
You guys had to be there.
Yeah, you just had to be there.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for a wonderful season.
Thank you.
At the very least, we'll see you next fall. But otherwise, check our Instagram for
Yes.
over the summer.
That's a wrap. NCR.
Sporadic random summer episodes that we might be doing, probably for Barbie and Oppenheimer. 'cause
Oh, definitely.
those two I
I
wanna
am
see for
doing
sure.
that double feature.
Absolutely. But yeah, so thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you.
And until next time.
That's a wrap.